what else? The Facebook plug-in.
Next Radio, if you have that option on your wireless device.
And then obviously now that we're actually live.
Oh, there we are.
You can go on Facebook Live, which we are streaming now, along with YouTube. You can just search Nigga Radio.
I've come to figure out you've got a problem with buttons.
Yeah, I'm not good at multitasking, especially when I'm talking. I would just prefer to just talk. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on. So we're going to spend, so the fall is going to be pretty easy and structured for us. We'll start, first segment's always going to be breaking down last night in high school football. Obviously, Keon and I were out at Brainerd High School for another wonderful football game. We'll break down that a little bit. And then also, we'll spend the rest of the hour and a half
talking about Tennessee.
Only a half hour talking about Tennessee. That'll be the second segment. And then moving forward for that, we'll break down for the last hour. We'll break down games that are going on today and every Saturday. This week, as bad as some of the games were last week, this week they're not much better. So it'll be fun to break down some big schools playing their in-state directional schools that many play. So that's kind of what's on the docket today for what we're going to do, and that's also probably what's going to be on the docket for most of the fall all the way through November. So back on track. We'll get to high school. I want to start, obviously, with the game that I was at and actually was able to really kind of break down Brainerd and East Ridge. And I told Keon this on the air last night, and as I know you were here listening, I feel very much like Nostradamus with what I've been saying the last couple of weeks. I feel pretty good about how I broke down that game. Kind of took my own horn a little bit because I knew East Ridge.
And the head's getting bigger.
I knew East Ridge was going to be able to hang at least for a half. I didn't think necessarily that they would go into the half with the lead, but they did. They played probably, obviously I haven't been able to watch any of their other games, but from what I've seen and score wise and looking at what they've done, it had to be probably their best half of football they've played all year.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up falling to Brainerd 21-18. And I think really at the end, Brainerd just kind of out-athleted them. And the problem for East Ridge is the region that they're a part of. And they do just kind of get out-athleted at points. Starting 0-4 is tough for Coach Tim James, but Tim James has been around a long time in this area, and he's done very well for a long time. So don't count East Ridge out just because they're 0-4. There's still a lot of football left to be played. There's 6 weeks left for them to turn things around. You can easily make the playoffs at 6-4, 5-5. So don't count East Ridge out. Brainerd does improve to 2-2, 2-0 in the region, which is huge for Brainerd. I think they have an opportunity. I don't know how deep they can go just because of depth purposes, but I think they can try to make a little bit of a run in the playoffs. You see athletically, if they come out and play ball, there's very few teams, especially in this area, that can out-athlete them.
Which is such a shame.
My thing is and it has to drive Coach Ward absolutely nuts, is why are they not up and ready to play at game time? I think it's obvious. And I was talking in the press box before the game to a couple of Brainerd parents and fans and alums of Brainerd. And they said, this is always the problem. They said, it's not coaching. It's not the athletic part. It's the fact that, and they say this happens with them in basketball too. One of the basketball coaches was up there and he was like, we just have a problem with, we play to the level of our opponent. And now that happens all over in any sport and in any level. However, you can't always do that and expect to win. It almost cost Brainerd the game last night.
Sure did. And, also it's a shame that Brainerd doesn't even have a booster club.
Yeah. Obviously it's hard in some areas to be able to have the support that a program needs. I'm sure they have a booster club, but just don't know how supportive it's able to be monetarily. And that's where it becomes, until you have the money, it's hard to compete. If you look at what Cleveland did last night by beating Catholic.
Yep.
I think they did end up beating them, didn't they?
I That game was hard to get scores for last night.
Of course it was.
But
I'm looking at it right now. But Cleveland, that's a program where they pump a lot of money into the school, and into the athletics.
Yeah, that and Bradley Central both gets a lot of money pumped into it.
Yeah, and I see Cleveland plays Bradley Central next week.
That's going to be a good game.
Cleveland ended up actually losing to Catholic 35-28. However, that Catholic is a team that competes for state championships every year. They won back-to-back state championships not that long ago, and Cleveland, hung with them and had the lead for a good portion of that game. So there's a school that pumps in a lot of money. Okay, and so into a program, and that's how you can be successful even against a private school like Knox Catholic. But Brainerd, athletically, with guys like Trey Uten at wide receiver and Ivan Buckner at running back, and the quarterback Xavier. What's his last name? Anyway, Zaire. Not Xavier. It's weird because it was spelled. It was Zaire with an X, which was really cool the way that he spelled his name. Zaire. His last name started with an M. Anyway, Zaire played really well at quarterback, and they, it was good for Brainerd to get another win. So we'll move on from that. I don't want to just. There's a lot of scores and a lot of big games that went on, so I don't want to just kind of break down that game. But kind of go through the area. Whitwell beat Signal Mountain 41-10.
Thank you for pronouncing that correctly.
Oh God, I know Sam struggles with some of these pronunciations. He's not from here, so you got to give him a little bit of time.
And that may not be the correct way to pronounce it, but it is
It's not the correct way, but it's the correct way here to pronounce it. Whitwell beat Signal Mountain 41-10. You can't say I'm really surprised. Signal, I thought maybe would battle a little bit more than they did. Microphone's playing tug of war with me.
They just rip it off the floor.
Yeah, just hold it. But Whitwell's really good, and they continue to prove that. Signal Mountain falls to 0-4. Whitwell 4-0 now. Marion County falls to South Pittsburgh at South Pittsburgh 42-6.
And that's always such a great game. I hate that the score was so lopsided in this one here.
Lately, South Pittsburgh's just really
been on.
They're really good too. I mean, you have some really good teams in this area, and they're going to be able to burn some of these schools. And South Pittsburgh does that really well against Marion County, and 42-6. Good for Chattanooga Christian. Coach Mariakis. They're off to a hot start. They're 3-1 after beating Lookout Valley 49-7. You can only play who's on your schedule, and they've done a great job of beating those teams that are on their schedule.
Very true.
We'll move on. Meigs County improves to 4-0, beating Sequatchie County. Meigs County, I do believe, you don't quote me on this, and Jason, maybe you can look it up for me, but I believe Meigs County plays Tyner next week.
Well, let's look.
Again, don't quote me on that because I'm probably wrong, because I usually am when it comes to high school matchups, because we have too many county schools, and I get them all confused, and a lot of them start with M's and S's, but I think that
Marion County versus Tyner at Tyner.
Marion, see, I told you it was an M county. Anyway,
you got the M right.
Yeah, whatever. So our game in North Georgia that we really talked about a lot last night, that was between two up and coming programs in North Georgia, Christian Heritage and Lafayette. And Sam, it's Lafayette. Not.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
It is 35-26. Christian Heritage defeats Lafayette, and wow, I got that one wrong. But good for both of those programs. You're talking about Christian Heritage, who went 2-8 last year. They already got 3 wins.
Yeah,
I mean, good for them. Great job that they're doing down there. North Georgia got some great schools. Now, Sequoia did romp Dalton. Didn't see that one coming. I thought that game would be pretty close. I was wrong. It was not close. I did pick Dalton to win. They lose 42-14. Didn't really expect that.
And that game really wasn't even close out the gate when we were watching it last night.
Yeah.
That's
upsetting because Dalton's had a good start, as they usually do. Dalton's still a really good football team. I think they must have come out flat. Obviously, I didn't see any of that at all. But, Sequoia's good too. But I didn't expect Dalton to just get run off the field. Grace Baptist Academy defeats Silverdale Baptist 20-0. That wasn't a real surprise. Grace, in that small private school division, usually decent. Silverdale struggles at times. Saudi Daisy, Sam sent me that first update. Hickson up 7-0. I didn't expect that to stay very long. It did not. Saudi Daisy, I did say, here's my Nostradamus. I did say Saudi Daisy would win by 35 points.
And
they did, 42-7. Saudi Daisy, Coach Justin Barnes, I knew they would regroup after that tough loss to Lenore City last week.
You channeled your inner Saudi?
I did. And I know Justin and Justin does a good job at Saudi Daisy, and talk about another school that has the full support of the community and of the booster club. Yes. That's it right there. Saudi Daisy, they're always pumping money into that program. Expect Saudi Daisy to make a run. They will probably make the playoffs this year. They got good quarterback play in Gavin Chambers. So definitely expect Saudi Daisy to continue to roll against some of their lesser opponents and be very competitive with some of their better opponents. Macaulay rebounds after a tough loss last week to MBA. They beat the Webb School of Knoxville 27-7 on the road. So big win for Macaulay and Coach Ralph Potter. North Murray looks like a really good defensive battle. Defeated Ringgold 14-7 at Ringgold.
Yeah, that game was actually pretty close all the way through.
Yeah, I figured. It's impressive to see that kind of defense in this day and age of football. 14-7 must have been. If you like defensive football, which I do, I love watching a good defensive battle. Watching coaches really have to coach when things aren't just going smoothly. So big win for North Murray. Notre Dame. Speaking of big wins. Notre Dame puts up 62 points on Central. It was 62-35 final. I don't even think it was that close.
No.
Central got a couple of late scores. Notre Dame continues to roll here after a tough opening loss to Baylor. I feel like Notre Dame and Baylor kind of go back a couple of weeks. I feel like Notre Dame just kind of has a mental block with Baylor.
Yeah. You're right about that.
It's not a talent thing. They just struggle for whatever reason always against Baylor. And we'll talk about Baylor in just a second and who they played. They played Innsworth this week. But Notre Dame rolls again 62-35 over Central. Ottawa, speaking of rolling, Ottawa rolls East Hamilton 37-0 after a great come from behind win last week against Bradley Central. Ottawa rolls 37-0.
Yeah, and Ottawa total rushing yards on that game was 36 for 132. Their quarterback completed 14 out of 18 passes in that game.
That's pretty successful.
159 passing yards. Total yards combined for Ottawa in that game was 291.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
East Hampton, they only got 70 yards rushing, no passing yards at all, and a total yardage of 70. So that's,
Yeah, Ottawa dominated. Yeah, that's not a surprise. Moving back down to Georgia, I kind of wish I could group these in Georgia and Tennessee scores, but Calhoun rolls Sonoraville 38-0. Not surprised.
Calhoun got 340 total yards in that game.
Impressive. And you're able to move up and down the field in a full fashion 3 times, and you're talking 100 yards 3 times in a high school game. That's only 48 minutes, guys, in a high school game. It's not like a college or an NFL game where you're playing 60 minutes. This is 48 minutes, and they're going 340 yards. That's impressive.
202 of those were in the air.
Of course they were. Calhoun rolls. Polk County rolls on. There's a lot of blowouts. Polk County defeats McMinn Central 48-21. I believe that makes McMinn Central fall to 0-4.
McMinn Central got 348 rushing yards. I'm sorry, Polk County got 348 rushing yards in that game.
348 rushing yards.
Yep.
Okay, that's impressive. I guess you kind of have to have that kind of yardage if you put up 48 points, unless you're getting the ball to 20 every time. Ray County falls in a little bit of a surprise to McMinn County, 15-7. Somebody finally figured out how to stop that wing tee, that kind of option attack that Ray County runs. Man, if you can find a way to stop it, you're in good shape. But most teams in the area can't usually find a way to do it.
Now, McMinn County won that game with -3 passing yards.
I don't even know how that's possible. That's pretty impressive. Again, you look at a score of 15-7, you're not going to have probably a ton of yards anyway.
218 over the air. Ray County, 108 yards rushing and 40 yards passing.
See, if you can hold Ray County to 108 yards rushing, you have a really good chance to win. Howard and Tyner, big rival game. Howard jumped out early, 8-0, and then Tyner said, nope. 39 unanswered points. Yeah,
they came back in the second quarter 12, third quarter 14, and then the fourth quarter 13.
Hey,
and then just blanked.
I mean, realistically, Tyner, you're talking about Tyner, a team that very well could win a state championship this year. Not surprised that they roll Howard there. Keep going here. We got about 2 minutes to recap the rest of these high school games. Tryon rolls on Armucci, 48-13. I said that would happen. Ridgeland defeats Sandy Creek, 23-21. Big first win at Ridgeland High School for Courtney Braswell as he returns home to that area that can't speak to that North Georgia area and finally gets his first win against a really good Sandy Creek team. I'm going to skip a couple of these scores because they don't really matter.
Walker Valley, Stone Memorial, 34-14.
Let's see. Baylor did fall to Innsworth, 24-21. So I don't feel as bad picking Baylor because they did hang and they played really well against Innsworth, it appears.
And you should have been in here in the confusion. We had one source.
I heard on the radio on the way home.
Yeah, we had one source with Baylor winning and everything in the lead. The other source said Innsworth was in the lead, and we were over scratching our heads. It's great to have two sources, but still, that was a complicated game to follow on our end.
I can only imagine that being the case. Now let's see. There's a couple others. Bledsoe County defeats Grundy County 17-0. Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe, who we will have their game this week against Ringgold, defeated Murray County.
That should be a good game.
35-9. Pepperell defeats Heritage 31-17. Tellico Plains rolls on Copper Basin 27-0.
Then what? Copper Basin's now 0-3?
Yeah. 0-4.
0-4. We're pulling for you guys. We are.
Northwest Whitfield defeats Stone Mountain 46-14. Again, not really a surprise at all. I believe that's about it. Adairsville destroys Cahulla Creek 41-10. I mean, you had a lot of blowouts this week, and I anticipate that kind of going down as we get a little bit further into the season and teams continue to find themselves where they are. But some good games, and we'll be in Fort O next week doing LFO and Ringgold. We'll get back right after the break here and talk some college football for the rest of the show. It should be fun conversation as you get to hear me go off on Tennessee, what I as I break down a little bit of what happened last week in the debacle against West Virginia. We'll be right back with the second segment here. Breakfast with Liz with Nick McHugh, Jason Kirk joining me.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. 3, 2, 1. Chatta, Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Democratic candidate Steve Foster is running against Republican Tom Graves from behind bars. He's sentenced to 6 months in jail for drunk driving. Foster asked to be let go on bond during his appeal. Catoosa County commissioners plan to build their own fire station in town, but ran into one problem at Wednesday's commission meeting. They don't know where to put it. Fire Station 2 could be rebuilt, but Commission Chairman Steve Henry has his doubts. For now, the planning is on the back burner, but commissioners hope to get it done soon. And cops say Aisha Jones executed the victim on Vance. 52-year-old Norman Sullivan was murdered in his apartment, shot multiple times. Cops say Jones was the one who finished him off. She's charged with multiple charges, including attempted murder and criminal homicide. Investigators say there were multiple witnesses to the murder who came forward to testify. Val St. John for Nuga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
David Toulis. I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nuga Radio.
92.7 Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
For your Saturday, another hot, humid day. Highs 88 to 90. An isolated afternoon shower storm will pop up with scattered afternoon showers and storms more likely on Sunday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist, Patch Report.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge, but if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with?
Eric,
You're our winner.
really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega,
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7.
Nuga Radio.
I guess it would help if I turn the volume up. Welcome back to the Breakfast with Nicholas Hughes. This is Nicholas Hughes. I'm having a hard time running the board this morning, apparently. I talk and can't hear myself. But, it is what it is.
Actually pushed the button.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't. I pushed my button, but the volume was all the way down.
Oh, you didn't move the slider.
Well, I'm not really sure why Sam moved the slider all the way down last night. Why would we ever move the sliders?
Hey, we like to push buttons and move things.
I mean, golly bum. Anyway, missed a great off-air conversation that we had about my attire. Okay, as if you're watching a video, you see that I'm wearing a Tennessee short sleeve hoodie.
A short sleeve hoodie.
Now I'm very weird in the way that I do my game day attire. After the show, I'll be leaving here and going directly to Knoxville to go to the Tennessee TSU game. I'm very weird in the way I do this. Is I wear the same shirt for every game day for an entire year. So basically, I go through in the summer and go through all the different Nike sites and kind of go through and find what I want to have for my game day attire for the year. Well, this year I went with the short sleeve hoodie. I thought it was very smart because you can wear it when it's hot, and then you can just put a long sleeve shirt on under it when it gets cold. It
looks good.
Got the hoodie. It does look good.
It looks good.
It does look good. It's not overbearing. It's not orange. It's gray. Okay, I'm a big. I love Tennessee, and I love our colors. I love the fact that they are very unique. However, too much orange.
Too much.
It can be too much. So I do wear the gray, and I love the gray, and I love the white. So that being said, obviously this is game day attire. So last week I wore it,
and they lost.
And lost is nice. That's a nice word to use. Tennessee got rolled by West Virginia. And so we had a conversation off the air that Jason believes that maybe I should think about switching it up. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think you switch it up because now you can wear it today and get the juju back because you're playing ETSU.
But
if they lose, I'm burning it.
But on top of that, it's going to be hot. You're in a short sleeve hoodie.
Yeah.
In the heat.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I might die. The game's at 4.
Well, you may also be inebriated enough to not worry about it.
Yeah, but then there's more sweat involved. It's okay, though. Maybe I'll sweat it out, so I'll be completely sober by the end of the game.
Or you can sweat out that bad juju and sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Huh. Well, I'm glad we had this conversation. I'm glad we were able to let me vent about my wardrobe choices.
Between the breaks are always funny. I really wish that Facebook
people could hear that.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome because I do feel like we have great, interesting conversations. I feel like some of our better conversations are off the air. Obviously, though, not everything that we say off the air can be said on the air.
Yeah, the FCC may not approve.
Yeah, well,
forget
the FCC. I didn't say that.
Well, all calls are recorded and monitored for customer service.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, we'll move on from my my wardrobe and my FCC-ness. But
we had a great college football week, though.
We did. There were some really good football games, and we'll break down some of those. But first, I do want to really break down Tennessee.
They broke down last week. You don't have to break it down now.
I went back and against my better judgment and rewatched the entire thing very slowly and redid a lot of rewinding and kind of did my own breakdown of the film. Obviously, I don't know the playbooks and things like that for Tennessee, but I have a strong enough knowledge of football to be able to recognize schemes and see certain things. Here's my first breakdown. It's going to be of the coaching staff. I did feel like, at least for the situations they were in, I felt like, for the most part, they put their players in the best positions to be successful. Yep. I felt like the defense didn't look completely lost like they did last year, which that's a step in the right direction. So, again, they were in positions to make plays. They just didn't make them. Nigel Warrior, who is the safety for Tennessee, probably played one of the worst games I've ever seen a safety play. He was absolutely atrocious. If that doesn't get better, you got to find somebody else. He wasn't making tackles. He was out of position quite frequently, and really at certain points looked like he just kind of quit. And if that's the attitude you're going to have, I would rather have somebody who isn't as good and athletic, but is going to play their ass off.
Yeah.
And that's not Nigel Warrior right now. Now, obviously, that can change going into these next couple of weeks where they can prepare and get ready for Florida. But I do expect to see a lot of different faces out there today and out there next week against some lesser opponents. To stay on the defensive side of the ball, Jason, did you watch the game?
I watched the first couple of quarters, and then after I saw, then I was like, okay.
The one thing that worries me the most, people, I listen to a lot of Knoxville sports radio throughout the week, and people are very concerned about the secondary, and rightfully so. The secondary struggled, obviously, but you're also playing Will Greer, who you're not going to play a quarterback like that the rest of the year.
No.
You're not going to play this type of offense the rest of the year. Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa can throw the heck out of the ball at Alabama, but it's not an air raid offense. Drew Lock can throw the heck out of the football, but I'm still not sold on how good he is against defenses who are competent. And realistically, that might be your only other two quarterbacks that you're going to play that are anywhere near the same level as Will Greer. Will Greer,
he was impressive.
If he continues to play like that for the whole year, which he might against Big 12 defenses, he might be the number one pick in the draft.
He was impressive that whole game.
He really was. So you can say what you want about the secondary. You had three freshmen starting in the secondary. I didn't think they did that bad. The problem for me is, where's the pass rush? There was nobody getting back there, and nobody was saying that West Virginia's offensive line was worth a damn, and they weren't. But Jonathan Kongbo, 5-star defensive lineman at the time, now he's playing linebacker. He's playing that rush linebacker in the 3-4. Where was he?
It's like they were afraid that the line of scrimmage was still going to get an offsides when they come across after the ball was snapped.
Unbelievable.
It was.
The only player on the defensive line that I graded that graded with a plus was Shy Tuttle, a defensive tackle. And Shy Tuttle played really well. But as a defensive tackle, as a nose guard in a 3-4, you can't do it all by yourself. You need some help.
Yep.
Where was Emmett Gooden? Where was Greg Emerson? Where was Darrell Taylor?
And the lack of that, Greer threw for 429 yards.
Career high, by the way.
The secondary was no match for him. 547 yards, 40 points. That's...
If you think about it, though, if I have 6 seconds to throw the football, nobody can cover these receivers for 6 seconds.
Nope.
You're looking at an All-American wide receiver in Sills, David Sills the fifth, and then you have the other one. I don't remember his name because I'm trying to block it out of my memory. But
there is Jennings.
Yeah, Jennings. And I mean, golly, it was frustrating. But it is what it is, and defensively, it was a mess. But I think you kind of just burn the tape and move on, because you're not going to see that kind of offense again.
Well, you can't let this, the Tennessee can't let this, performance phase them at all.
I think the attitude is a little bit different than it was the year prior. I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, obviously, if they come out and lay an egg today, uh-oh.
Well, what they need to do to come out today and play ETSU, they definitely need to play that as if it's, in conference, game of the life. That way they can really get that defense and that offense clicking again. Yeah,
and I thought the offense, that's where I do want to say, I think, minus this fact they only scored 14 points, I thought the offense had flashes of good things. I want to start with probably the best player on the team last week, and that was Tim Jordan.
The mascot?
Yeah. Tim Jordan actually played really well. He's running back, and Ty Chandler, your starting running back, goes down in the first quarter with what appeared to be a concussion. Or as Jeremy Pruitt said, he got his bell rung. God, I love Jeremy Pruitt.
Yes.
He got his bell rung. He's day to day. That's what Jeremy Pruitt said after the game. So I will say that he's probably in concussion protocol and he probably will not play today. That's fine. But Tim Jordan.
20 attempts for 118 yards.
Yeah, you're looking at over 5 yards a carry right there. Yep, that's what you need, especially the fact that, could you imagine what he would have been able to do running the football if his offensive line could have blocked anybody?
Well, he had a long, like 29, 30 yards, I believe.
Yeah, I don't. Tim Jordan's not that guy who's going to blow you away with speed. Tim Jordan is going to pound you 5 yards at a time. And if I can get 100 yards out of Tim Jordan every week, I feel pretty good. If he gets 100 yards against Florida, Tennessee's going to beat Florida.
This is the one thing I always say: 5 yards at a time will get you where you need to be.
Yeah, if you're anywhere between 4 and 5 yards a carry,
4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 2 is 10.
So you're right there. You can run a lot of things that way. Now, the next thing I want to break down, and we'll move off of Tennessee. I don't want to spend an entire whole segment on it, but Tennessee here. The other thing that one of the other very few things I was impressed with was Jarrett Garantano. When he did have a little bit of time to throw the football, he looked like he knew what he was doing. Again, a step in the right direction from last year.
He was 19 for 25.
Which, considering the fact that he had nobody blocking for him, outstanding.
172 yards.
And a touchdown, right?
And a touchdown. No interceptions. Zero.
That right there was the biggest thing for me, and it wasn't just him. Tennessee had 0 turnovers. 0. When was the last time you could say that? Probably Derek Dooley age, because Butch Jones teams throwing the ball over all the time. And to have a gunslinger like Jarrett Garantano and him not turn the ball over, that's a good sign. You hang on to the football well, running the football as much as you ran the ball. You ran it probably 30 times, and you didn't fumble, minus the first play where Brandon Kennedy and Ryan Johnson just decided to let the nose tackle through and ear hole Jarrett Garantano on the first play of the game, which then he loses the football, but Tennessee did recover. I think that was I thought there was some positives. You can't take away, I don't guess, a ton of positives in a 40-14 loss, but also I don't believe that score was very indicative of that game. That game was 13-7 at halftime.
Yeah, the second half, Tennessee just fell apart. I mean, that's the only thing you really say. And because in the third quarter alone, West Virginia scored 20 to their 7.
Yeah, third quarter was bad. I'll say this too, though. The other thing, and then we can move on from Tennessee after this, but the big thing for me that was a sign of things going in the right direction, it is 4th and goal from about the 2-yard line. You're down 10-0. The offense just starts running off the field. Jeremy Pruitt calls a timeout and loses his mind on his team. And apparently the team, and he said this in his press conference after the game, the team just started to come off the field because they assumed he was going to kick a field goal. And he said, you turn your butts around and you go back out there and I'll make that decision if we kick the field goal or if we go for it. And guess what?
You're fine.
Guess what? He went for it. And guess what they did? They scored a touchdown. Novel idea, and that's changing the culture. Yep. Now you have your chances to win games, and that's important. Winning games is important, but it's year one. The most important thing is changing that culture of quitting that they've had, and now that's not the case. And so I'm very, very, very excited and very encouraged by that. And Keon Rose joining us now as well, and he's all still dressed up.
And I smell like yesterday.
Oh, well.
So I look nice, but don't smell me. Not a good idea.
I mean, I wasn't planning on sniffing you.
That would be that's during the break, gentlemen. During the break.
if you remember Charlie Brown, I do have a Pigpen like aura around me right now, so it's not great. You don't have to get that close.
I do love Pigpen though.
Right?
Was a great character.
Pigpen was one of my favorite Peanuts. I don't know why.
I like him. I also really like Linus because Linus just brings he's the heart and soul. He's the one who really makes you have the feels.
Yeah. I mean I always liked Lucy, but I tend to like the meanest character in
I was about to say she's kind of
a word we don't have to say,
yeah.
But you know what it is.
Yeah.
No, she is that, and I enjoy it. I do.
I like the view of the back of your head here, Keon. Look at the YouTube video. Yeah.
I'm really happy. Also, if I shake it,
I'm glad you put that hat on yourself over there.
Yeah, well, the bald spot was getting a little glaring, so
no, I had to keep my eyes turned constantly.
So had to throw the hat on. Yeah.
Thank you.
The glories of getting older.
My eyes appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So as we digress, that was kind of a little bit of my breakdown of kind of what happened in that Tennessee game. Now,
you know something else though, Tennessee could have done better. Third down conversions.
Yeah, well,
5 for 14. But I will say though, on fourth down they converted 2 or 3. So
yeah,
redemption.
I just like the fact they went for 3 times on fourth down. I'd like to know the numbers on how many times they went for it on fourth down last year. It might have been 3 all of last year. It's nice to see a coach with some cojones.
Yeah, and that's what Pratt's got.
Look, I think that they played well in the standpoint of they didn't quit, they didn't give up.
Minus a couple of players, I would agree with you. As a whole, they didn't quit.
Well, yeah, and those players will not be playing, I imagine, going into the future.
Yeah, some of them got ripped a little bit.
Yeah, and they're probably, I mean, and Butch and Jeremy Pruitt.
Whoa, no cussing.
All right,
that's gonna be a fine.
Butch Jones left something in terms of a culture that Jeremy Pruitt is trying to change, and so yeah, I mean that's all going to factor into it. But ultimately, the guys that bought in, you could tell which guys they were, and that's moving forward. Like that's the Tennessee football you're going to want to see.
Agreed.
It's not going to change in a year.
No. You're at this point. It more than wins and losses. And look, I'm one of those people who I want to win right now. I've been in football hell for the last 10 years, but to know what the previous coaching staff put on this program now, knowing what how bad they set them back. You're going to have to be a little bit patient. I'm not saying sit here for 5 years and if it doesn't get any better, just keep him. But I'm saying you got to give him a 2 to 3 years to figure it out. You always know by year 2 if the coach is the coach to get a job done. And I'm not saying he's got to be like Kirby Smart and be in the national championship in year 2, but you got to see marked progress. And you never saw that with Butch Jones. And I think that's why people were so frustrated that after 2016, when it all fell apart, they kept him, because then that set up for 2017, the debacle that was 4-8.
And here's the thing with Butch too. Butch would always undersell. So not only did they not improve, he didn't seem to publicly desire to improve. Like if he
perception, all he cared about was perception.
I thought if he publicly said, we want to get better, we are getting better, then even if things didn't break his way, like, look, we just lost some games, these are tough, people might have been more forgiving. But 100%. He didn't mind.
Well,
being
and that
average.
was another thing that it was a breath of fresh air. Jeremy Pruitt owned up to his coaching mistakes.
Oh, that's just refreshing all the time.
And first off, I didn't think he really made that many. I thought he did a pretty damn good job of calling his first football game. Realistically, obviously, there weren't a lot of plays where he had to, you're like, oh, what's Jeremy going to do here? But on that fourth down conversion, or that first fourth down they went for and scored a touchdown, I loved it. I was like, you're not going to beat West Virginia by kicking field goals.
No.
Score a touchdown. And they did. And they made it a ball game at halftime. And I thought there was some really good things that came out of there. I think you just got to continue to see marked improvement today against ETSU. But I do want to say this before we go to the break and go to the news break. I'm going to start starting next week, we're going to bring in a Butch Jones jar. Okay. Oh? We are burying that name. We're not going to say it anymore.
Okay.
We can say the previous staff, but we're not saying the name anymore. And anytime you say Butch Jones, after today, we're going to put $1 in the Butch Jones jar.
Oh, man.
Previous administration?
You can say that. You can say anything. Just don't say anything. You can say Voldemort. You can say him who must not be named. You know, you can say
The
whatever.
guy from Cincinnati?
Yeah, you can say the intern at Alabama. I don't really care. We don't say his name.
Tennessee last
I'm
year.
gonna lose so many dollars.
Yeah. So
just habit forming of like even saying his
Butch
name
Jones bashing.
in disgust. It's really easy.
We're just gonna bury the hatchet. We're gonna bury it. It's over. This is the Jeremy Pruitt era now. We're gonna not talk about the moron that was there before. And you can call him the moron. You can call him the moron.
Okay, that's fair.
You were asking for the stat for third or fourth down conversions last year. 30% they converted. I don't have an exact figure here, but they only converted.
Probably 3 for 10. Anyway, we'll be right back after the news break. CBS News coming up. This is the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew, Keon Rose, and Jason Kirk. 927 SL, Nick Radio.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The GBI says a GSP trooper, Joe Getty, tried to stop a car on Highway 126 near Sand Mountain, but the driver sped away, then pointed what appeared to be a handgun at the trooper, who opened fire, seriously injuring the driver. Brandon Whittier rushed to the hospital. It turned out later that what appeared to be a handgun was actually a replica. Trooper Getty was not injured. The GBI is investigating. The coroners determined a man who died in Chattanooga who was suicidal on Bonnie Oaks Drive did in fact kill himself. He shot himself in the chest. There are reports that an officer fired accidentally 3 times. One of the bullets did hit that victim in the leg, according to the coroner. How this officer accidentally fired 3 times, still not determined. The officer's lawyer says he actually meant to fire his gun. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
For your Saturday, another hot, humid day. Highs 88 to 90. An isolated afternoon shower storm will pop up with scattered afternoon showers and storms more likely on Sunday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist, Match Report.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
My ex recently hacked my email and my social media, and it really caused me some problems. I changed all my passwords, which helped, but I'm still getting trolled, maybe even stalked. I know it's him. I just can't prove it.
My business, well, it's been broken into twice already. I've got cameras, but that only helps after the fact. I'd rather prevent it from happening in the first place.
Unity One East is your solution to these and many other security concerns. With private investigation, security services, and backed by decades of real-life experience in military and law enforcement, Unity One East is your instant contact for security, investigation, and consultation to help protect you, your family, and your business. No 1-800 number, no red tape, no wait, because Unity One East is local and available 24/7. Reclaim your peace of mind. Call Unity One East, 475-6206, 475-6206.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. Then if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it.
WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Peter King. It may be Washington's biggest mystery since Deep Throat during the Watergate era. Which Trump administration insider wrote that scathing op-ed piece about the president?
He believes it's somebody in national security.
Presidential advisor Kellyanne Conway on CNN. More from CBS's Mola Lenghi.
In an interview, Mr. Trump said it's only a matter of time before the White House figures out the identity of the anonymous official who claims to be part of a resistance within the administration.
When you first saw this New York Times piece, in your gut, who's the first person that came to your head?
Well, I could think of 4 or 5, mostly people that either I don't like or respect. The fact is that we'll find this person.
After a scathing speech that slammed Mr. Trump and his fellow Republicans, his predecessor campaigns this weekend in California. CBS's Steve Futterman.
Mr. Obama officially kicks off his midterm push to help Democrats regain control of the House. Today, the former president will appear alongside 7 Democrats who are trying to beat Republicans in some key districts in the state. We can expect Mr. Obama to talk about the importance of the midterms, and he is very likely to talk about President Trump, either directly or indirectly.
Tropical storm Florence is expected to become a hurricane again by early tomorrow. It could land somewhere between North Florida and North Carolina's Outer Banks late this week, or next week, excuse me. There's more immediate danger.
I'm Jim Crisula. The National Hurricane Center says regardless of the eventual track of Florence, the storm will generate large, dangerous swells in Bermuda and the U.S. East Coast this weekend. Weather forecasters are warning of life-threatening surf and rip currents.
A Dallas police officer faces manslaughter charges for shooting and killing a neighbor. She says she mistakenly entered his apartment instead of her own and thought he was an intruder. Chief Renee Hall says the investigation will be thorough and transparent.
A blood sample was drawn to test the officer's level for drugs or alcohol.
Every TV leading man needs a good sidekick. For Larry Hagman in I Dream of Jeannie in the 60s.
I think we're in trouble. Sledgehammer, sledgehammer.
It was Bill Daly who played fellow astronaut Roger Healy, and later on the Bob Newhart Show, he played an airline navigator during the 70s. We learned overnight that Daly died this past week at his home in New Mexico. Bill Daly was 91. And in New York,
Cardi B, I'm back, bitches.
rapper Cardi B isn't admitting that she attacked fellow rapper Nicki Minaj last night at a Fashion Week event, but she later tweeted that she was upset because her mothering skills were being disparaged. This is CBS News.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for businesses of all sizes. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Dining Out, presented by Capital One Quicksilver. The kids are back in school and they're already sick of the same old cafeteria lunch. That means it's time to treat their taste buds to a night out at your favorite restaurant. Perhaps a nice steak and salmon for you and your better half, while the kiddos feast on wood-fired pepperoni pizza. Sure beats whatever the lunch lady's serving. Capital One Quicksilver card. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, everywhere. That's all there is to it. Just unlimited 1.5% cash back on everything you buy. What's in your wallet? This do-it-right savings tip is brought to you by The Home Depot. With the guaranteed lowest prices on top brand name appliances like Samsung, GE, LG, and Whirlpool, The Home Depot is your home improvement headquarters. Saving on appliances has never been easier, with free shipping on over 1 million items. That's right, we'll deliver them for free to your house or the store. No membership required. Visit HomeDepot.com/appliances for details. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
One of last year's best college football stories becomes an NFL story tomorrow. Here's CBS's Steve Kathan.
Shaquem Griffin. It was one thing for one-handed linebacker Shaquem Griffin to be drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. It was another for him to be a force during the preseason.
Doyle going to fall forward for a first down before Griffin makes the stop.
Now, Griffin, who had his left hand amputated as a child because of a congenital condition, will start Seattle's season opener against Denver.
I knew what my ability was. I knew what I can do.
He says he hopes he inspires others, and the kicker is his twin brother Shaquille will line up right behind him in the Seahawks secondary. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
In the interview contest that precedes the Miss America pageant, one contestant last night was asked about the most serious issue facing the country. Madeline Collins, Miss West Virginia, says it's Donald Trump for causing a lot of division. The finals are tomorrow night in Atlantic City. Peter King, CBS News.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The GBI says a GSP trooper, Joe Getty, tried to stop a car on Highway 126 near Sand Mountain, but the driver sped away, then pointed what appeared to be a handgun at the trooper, who opened fire, seriously injuring the driver. Brandon Whittier rushed to the hospital. It turned out later that what appeared to be a handgun was actually a replica. Trooper Getty was not injured. The GBI is investigating. The coroners determined a man who died in Chattanooga who was suicidal on Bonnie Oaks Drive did in fact kill himself. He shot himself in the chest. There are reports that an officer fired accidentally 3 times. One of the bullets did hit that victim in the leg, according to the coroner. How this officer accidentally fired 3 times, still not determined. The officer's lawyer says he actually meant to fire his gun. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News. Now,
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
For your Saturday, another hot, humid day. Highs 88 to 90. An isolated afternoon shower storm will pop up with scattered afternoon showers and storms more likely on Sunday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's. Home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist, Patrick 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Rick is buying and selling a woman's best friend, diamonds. Stop in now and check out the wide selection from Chattanooga's premier jeweler, Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga. Before you buy, let Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds create that special gift for you. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Well, welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew. Keon joining me along with Jason Kirk, the producer extraordinaire for many things. Gridiron game, the game of the week.
No.
I feel like
No. There you go. By the way,
so it's so funny though because I feel like Jason has he's added into my favorites on my contacts.
my phone is like most frequently. Well, that's because Jason Kirk. That's because on Thursday nights I call you both of y'all
About every 5 minutes. Because usually something's wrong.
But we're getting those things fixed.
We're gonna get ironed out. And it's not wrong as in like we can't. It's behind the scenes being wrong. And we're still able to, because Jason does a great job, we're still able to produce a show, which is wonderful, and a game. However, there's sometimes Keon and I just want to pull our hair out, and I'm sure Jason feels the same way.
Some of this new gray that's coming in is from you too. So I'm just saying.
But I will say this. I think that the programming that we do with the high school football does a wonderful job, obviously. So
everybody involved. We're doing such a, and this is my humble opinion, and it is an opinion. Everyone's got one like an elbow, But with the small staff that we have, and there's been constant improvements. Yes, we've had our problems, we've had our hiccups, we've had our issues, but we're improving and
constantly.
That's the thing. With us being as small as we are, the goal is for us to rival, the competition across town.
And I thought last night went pretty, almost flawlessly.
We were almost
for the first time. It was actually pretty smooth. Keon and I had an easy job.
Our hiccup came from the wireless carrier who decided to start buffering the audio over there.
Well,
Which, that's on my phone. That's T-Mobile. I should have known better.
T maybe.
Sometimes T don't even bother.
They won't be cutting us a check now that we just bashed them on the air. But you can.
Maybe when they fuse with Sprint, they'll forget.
You can come hang out with Keon and I every Thursday night at Starbucks 10 North on the North Shore. It's from 7 to 9 p.m.
And if someone is listening that will go, because I know we get a lot of fans that go down to the Starbucks.
Yeah.
Will somebody be kind enough to bring me a drink back? Because I hear all this greatness, and I'm over going, okay, all I got is a bottle of water or Dr. Pepper.
And I will say this, obviously we talk a lot about high school football. It's what the whole 2-hour show's about. We have those, they have specialty drinks there. That's a refresher of the week. So excited to see what the LFO and the Ringgold drinks are going to be next week. They also do have extended hours all season long on Thursdays. They're open till 10 p.m. So you'll come out, you can support the team. You can maybe meet some coaches, meet us if you really want to meet Keon and I. That one. We'll sign autographs.
Yeah, I mean that'll blow my mind. I don't know why you'd want to meet us. But,
also, we'll digress from that.
We'll talk with you.
I'm in this locked studio, so they can meet me.
with a portion of the proceeds every Thursday are going to go to local school scholarship programs and any after school programs. Again, that's every Thursday night. We're doing it all season long, so it'll be through November. We have a great time out there every Thursday night. It's a blast. It's a beautiful area. It is, again, the Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. It's locally owned and operated. Locally owned.
They do have an awning.
Operated. They do have an awning. Locally owned and operated by Vision Hospitality. So that it's gonna be another fun one. Again, we do have Ringgold and LFO next week, so that'll be fun. Also, right after us today, I'm just gonna keep going and promoting things. Scott Schrader, the host of We've Got You Covered Radio. Again, that's going to be right after us at 10 a.m.
That was a great show.
It really was. I thought it was fantastic. Anything that you need help with on your home, the repairs that your home may need, any other ideas that you don't always think about, Scott's got you covered. And you can always call in to discuss with him here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. It's obviously presented by Chattanooga.
Yep, and his guest today is going to be Gary Smalt from Dynatech. And I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, just stop before you butcher it.
We butcher the man's business.
Also, obviously we talked about the Gridiron Gang, but Friday, before our game and our broadcast, Nooga Radio is going to be out at the Trail of Tears Memorial. The Trail
of what?
The Trail of Tears Memorial Pre-Ride Rally at Crockett Power Sports and Indian Motorcycles of Chattanooga. Nooga Radio will be broadcasting live beginning at 4 until 7, so right up to Sam Jordan's countdown to kickoff, with various vendors, food, music, and a chance to gather and fellowship with your tribes. It is the silver anniversary of this great event where bikers from across the nation gather with the Trail of Tears Memorial Association members and hold the ride and remember the event. Again, join us at 4 o'clock this Friday, September 14th, for the pre-ride rally live, again, from Crockett Power Sports and Indian Motorcycles of Chattanooga, with the multiple people of Nooga Radio.
Speaking of Crockett Power Sports and Indian of Chattanooga, did you guys happen to see the video of myself and Jen?
I did. It was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, no, that's fun. That looks like absolute fun.
That was probably the most fun in 45 minutes I've ever had. Because, the video was 8. We left Crockett. We went down Amacola, and that thing was like a rocket. Man, it was a blast. But yes, we'll be there next Friday, myself and Jen, and we'll be broadcasting live. So come see us, come hang out. There's going to be a lot of events over there. Crockett's doing a phenomenal job putting this project on.
I would love to be out there, but I'll be on my way to Fort O. So, but I'll be listening to you guys. So don't
no pressure.
Don't screw up.
I'm going to be out of my element. I'm so used to being in here touching the board, and
You're
then I'm
going to be on location.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
So we'll see how the fish out of water.
Yeah,
Jason Kirk.
I'm going to be over there, playing.
Is this your first remote actually being on the air?
In live or here?
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
there we go.
That's gonna
Also,
be fun.
So if you want an autograph,
I'm looking at the TV over here. It's a commercial right now, but they had Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer, and I was wondering if we could get him to help curb some of these habits about mentioning the previous administration. I feel like we need some help because I feel like next week there's no way
that you
this
can't
is going to
say
hold into my head 7
Yeah,
days.
well, okay. So Keon, get ready. I hope you bring some singles. And actually, do you know what? You can just prepay if you want. You can
Prepay. Yeah, I'm going to slip about 3 or 4 times. I think.
Just put a 5 in there, and you got 5 chances to say his name.
The question is, though, are we going to donate this money, or is this going to be your venture money to Knoxville?
I feel like we should donate it.
To be determined.
TBD. Okay.
Yeah. No, but I think we could find something awesome to donate.
Yeah,
this
some
to.
good cause.
That would be really cool if there's if there's like a good. I mean, obviously there's a lot of good charities, but if we could, find something for like high school football or something, that'd be great. Brainerd. Let's move on. Let's move on to some college football talk. Keon.
Oh,
Texas. What?
Could not.
Now, I'll be honest. I was upset with what Tennessee did and how bad they played against West Virginia at times. But at least West Virginia is, considered to be a pretty good team. And what happened, Keon?
Well, 2 big things happened. Well, a third big thing happened, but it's unrelated to the game. The first big thing that happened was Texas could not run the ball. Just absolutely can't run.
142 yards.
Yep.
I mean, that's decent.
It's decent.
How many carries, though? Like, how many total carries did they have offensively to get that 142 yards?
You think that stat would be in front of me? Thank you.
You would think. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Then the turnovers. The turnovers were a big problem.
Yeah, a lot of.
A couple of interceptions by Mr. Ellinger.
The weather wasn't great.
It wasn't great, but you know what? Those late interceptions with a chance to maybe pull out a win. I still look. Shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, so I can't blame the weather. I'm not blaming any other factors there. Also, the secondary.
Hot garbage.
That was supposed to be fixed. That was a big thing of the entire offseason. Oh, we fixed the secondary. And all I've learned about Tom Herman is that he just says stuff.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, but only Tom Herman is different from folks that we know.
Yeah,
and also Dan Mullen. And in that
we're gonna get a Dan Mullen jar before the end of the year too.
Just for all the Florida fans out there, but no, because Tom Herman isn't saying things that are vague. He's saying things that are very specific and not true. Which is
that's not good. That might be worse.
It is worse. It's 100 times worse. He's not saying that guys are champions or any of the platitudes that just don't mean anything. He's saying we fixed the defense, and the defense did not get fixed.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And I'll say this though, Matt Canada, what a great job he did. And he obviously got fired from LSU, which I think was an absolute joke. Matt Canada is one of the best offensive minds in college football. Mm-hmm. I hope Matt Canada gets that job. I hope they give that to him.
Because Durkin doesn't need to be there.
No, Durkin definitely does not need to be there. But if he could get that job, I think Matt Canada should do a really good job at Maryland. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to compete and win Big Ten championships, but you're talking about he could get that team to bowl games and bowl appearances every year. I think it may be like a ceiling of about 9 wins there, and I think they would take that.
They would take that. Look, I used to live in Maryland. Maryland is a basketball school. I mean, they're not good at that either now, but they're still a basketball first school. That's what they care about the most. If you have a presentable Maryland team, that'll do it.
And people will follow it though. Like if they are decent and they show that they can grow under Matt Canada, I think that you can. I think that they will support them.
Yeah, no, and look, the people over there, they're starving for Maryland, to be good at anything at all. So I mean, it's not like Matt Canada doesn't have an opportunity here. I'd love to see him flourish in that role. And I'm not going to lie, a lot of the big plays that they made were just brilliant designs by him.
You're not going to see a guy use motion in an offense better than Matt Canada. It's like
one
what
of the
the
best. He's one of the
previous
best.
the previous staff of morons at Tennessee wanted to do, and they couldn't do it. They didn't know how, and so
Matt Canada do that against Texas and not really have the athletes that Texas has.
I'm interested to see. Now, we can say last year was kind of a mess because we didn't think Maryland was going to be very, very good offensively at all, and they ended up they weren't. I think this is a little bit different.
Yeah,
I don't think this Maryland team is as bad as last year's Maryland team.
No, they do have better athletes, and they are better coached.
Matt Canada made that team, and obviously he wasn't the head coach when he got brought on there. He was just going to be the offensive coordinator, but them hiring him made them light years better already than they were going to have been if he wasn't there. Matt Canada, I've always been high on Matt Canada. When Tennessee was about to hire a new coordinator after Mike DeBoard left, that's who I wanted, and instead we promoted somebody who's never called plays in their life and was a tight ends coach.
Logic.
There was none.
Instead, we got Larry Scott. But I do think Maryland. I don't think that's going to look. When you look back, I don't think that's going to be as bad of a loss as it was last year. However,
but it was that compounded with let's shoot ourselves in the foot with interceptions and turnovers. There's also a fumble that didn't make any sense either. And then there was let's shoot ourselves in the foot with penalties.
Over 100 yards and penalties.
Yep.
You
There's
can't
no
do that.
football game that you can win when that's happening.
Team that makes the fewest mistakes wins.
I would also like to
plain
point
and
out
simple
that I don't drink, so I watch all of this misery sober. And
so sorry.
I have to tell you, it's real bad.
Yeah, it was 10 total.
It's real bad.
That's all I'm gonna say.
It was at noon, so even if you do drink, you're drinking early.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I worked. I work at the other job, and I come over here. So when that game started to run away from me, I went to sleep.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I was not awake for all of that.
I do not blame you at all.
Yeah, that was 10 penalties for 102 yards.
Oh, wow, that is worse, that's worse than I remember. No, thank you. And they play Tulsa today.
That should be better.
And I'm going to tell you something. If they struggle against Tulsa today, my clothes are just going to drop to the floor as I evaporate in rage.
Well, it's okay. I already said that this is my game day shirt. And if Tennessee loses to ETSU, and I'll wear it every game day for the whole year. And then it'll get retired at the end of the year and won't be worn to games anymore. But if we lose to ETSU today, it's getting burnt.
Just buy a new game day shirt.
Just buy a new game day shirt.
As I said earlier,
you're getting the ultimate.
You have
retirement.
time to change your mind on this.
No. See, it's got to get the juju back. It's got to go well.
It hasn't had juju to begin with. Y'all lost.
Okay, you're right. But okay, so that's fine. But here's the thing: if it gets its juju not back, if it just gets its juju, then great. If we lose today, I'll take full responsibility.
I'm going to be rooting today for ETSU. I just want to see this.
I am actually.
We will have to video this if you do burn it.
You might not want to root because there might not be a show next week because I might be dead.
If Texas loses today,
I'm not. It'll be the breakfast blitz with Jason Kirk.
No. The breakfast with Keon and acquaintances.
With what's left of Keon the gas.
Yeah, if Tennessee and Texas both lose today, then it is the breakfast blitz with Jason Kirk.
No, if Alabama loses today too, guys, come on.
Then
There will not be a show.
The breakfast blitz with Sam Jordan. Talking about Arkansas football in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
All Arkansas all the time.
Because let's be honest.
And Penn State.
With Sam. Sam's been suffering with Arkansas football for a while. Like if they lose today, he's not doing anything to himself. He's fine.
Yeah. They've always been trash. So anyway,
at least he didn't, become a Florida fan when he came down. So
that's a good point.
We have to give him that.
That's a good point. So for the last little bit of this segment, I do want to kind of touch on a little bit of football that happened last week, and then we'll spend the last segment breaking down games.
Yeah, some of the
for this
big ones
week.
today. Not
yeah,
all.
not all of them like we did last week, and probably bored people. Anyway, so last week I do want to talk about a couple. I want to start with Notre Dame, Michigan.
That was a good game.
Boy, what happened to Michigan? And is Jim Harbaugh on the hot seat?
If I were an AD, he would be. He would be.
That's a big buyout.
It is.
I mean, it's not like Michigan. I mean, Michigan has
that
the money.
They do have the money, and part of it too is like it took them so long to get Harbaugh. If you fire Harbaugh, how long before you have to find another guy that's decent? I don't know, but they have the talent on that team to be better than they are.
Can I make a comparison? Michigan and Tennessee are very similar right now.
Don't insult Tennessee.
It's sad to see these big programs, these blue bloods of football, and Texas is kind of in the same boat. These blue bloods of football just blech. Like Michigan, these expectations they've had for the last 4 years with Harbaugh and just not meeting them. Then you have, Texas obviously going through coaching carousels like crazy, like Tennessee has lately since Mac Brown left. It's like these legends leave these schools. So Lloyd Carr at Michigan, Tennessee, Philip Fulmer, and Texas with Mac Brown, and it's just and you can't. And that's why, and we'll talk about this too, because there really weren't that many great games last week.
There really wasn't.
That's why if I'm an Alabama fan, I'm hanging on for dear life with what I have left with Nick Saban, because it is almost impossible to follow a legend. It doesn't matter how good of a coach you are. Following a legend is impossible. And if I'm guys like Dabo Swinney, if I'm guys like Jeremy Pruitt, if I'm guys like Kirby Smart's not going anywhere. He's going to stay at Georgia. I don't leave where I am if I'm being successful and go to Bama and face that pressure.
Right. You let somebody else do it first.
And then you can go.
Yeah. Let someone else fail, and then you go, anything else that I do is
But if I'm an Alabama fan, I'm hanging on for dear life for these last probably 4 to 5 years with Nick Saban.
Just enjoy the ride you're on, because you've been successful for going on a decade now.
Yeah, and so just enjoy it, because trust me, the fall from grace hurts. And I know Alabama's been there before with
James
their fall.
Stallings.
Yeah, after Stallings in the 90s when he left, and then Alabama goes through some issues with the NCAA and things like that, and then they've dealt with people like Mike Shula.
Yeah.
Which is kind of their last time I'm going to say it, their Butch Jones.
They're going to be a Sheila Jarte.
I mean, we can. I think that's fair. As far as removed as we are from that, but I feel like if we did this show 15 years ago, it would have.
Yeah.
We would have needed one. Because I imagine Alabama sports radio was the exact same as Tennessee sports radio when Shula was there, but
everyone's upset.
It is, and we're not going to break down any more of the games because there really just wasn't realistically that great of games. But with those Michigan, programs,
you've got Shea Patterson. He's supposed to be an upgrade. He throws for 227 yards, but doesn't put it in the end zone. A lot of that to
but
me.
How good is Notre
coaching?
But how good is Notre Dame? Is Notre Dame really going to be a contender this year? Because if that's the case, that's not that bad of a loss, because you're on the road in week 1.
And I'm not going to lie, with Notre Dame, I feel like I can never tell.
You can't, because they don't play the same teams every year, and you don't know who they're playing. I know they play half of an ACC schedule now. Just join a damn conference.
I mean, seriously.
At this point, for the love of God.
What do you have to gain from being the lone standalone non-conference team?
That's worth a damn.
I mean, good Lord. Your basketball team's in a conference?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's got to be the media rights and the money on that aspect.
Yeah, it's the NBC deal. Anyway, we'll be right back after this short break. We're going to break down this week's games, these big games, and obviously your local teams in Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. This is the Breakfast Blitz. Nick Leffew, Keon Rose, Jason Kirk, Nigga Radio 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Democratic candidate Steve Foster is running against Republican Tom Graves from behind bars. He's sentenced to 6 months in jail for drunk driving. Foster asked to be let go on bond during his appeal. Catoosa County commissioners plan to build their own fire station in town, but ran into one problem at Wednesday's commission meeting. They don't know where to put it. Fire Station 2 could be rebuilt, but Commission Chairman Steve Henry has his doubts. For now, the planning is on the back burner, but commissioners hope to get it done soon. And cops say Aisha Jones executed the victim on Vance. 52-year-old Norman Sullivan was murdered in his apartment, shot multiple times. Cops say Jones was the one who finished him off. She's charged with multiple charges, including attempted murder and criminal homicide. Investigators say there were multiple witnesses to the murder who came forward to testify. Val St. John for Nuga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
David Toulis. I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nuga Radio.
92.7 Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
For your Saturday, another hot, humid day. Highs 88 to 90. An isolated afternoon shower storm will pop up with scattered afternoon showers and storms more likely on Sunday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist, Patch Report.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. Then if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric. You're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew and friends. Keon Rose, Jason Kirk joining me. Buttons, look at me. I'm getting better at this.
Those are actually really good when you come back.
Yeah, radio buttons. So before we break down games, Scott Schrader just got here, so make sure that you stay tuned to 92.7 FM in the many different ways you can listen to us. We've got you covered radio with Scott Schrader. It's going to be great. I was excited about the show last week. I'm going to listen to it on my way up to Knoxville. Maybe he can tell me how to fix things because I'm not very good at it. So stay tuned. 10 o'clock, Scott Schrader. We've got you covered radio here on Nuga Radio. He's got another great show lined up for you. College football, guys.
College football. It is.
It's week 2.
Answer to and the cause of.
And I'm already ready to break down Tennessee basketball. It's week 2. But before we do that, just a little bit of news. Tennessee did give Rick Barnes an extension through head coach for Tennessee basketball 2023 to 2024 season, making him the second highest paid coach in the SEC, making just over $3 million a year. Behind John Calipari, which also makes him the 10th highest paid coach in college basketball. So you got a program. You got a program that's going to be preseason top 4, top 5. You need to pay your coach as such. So good job, Tennessee. Good job, Philip Fulmer, getting that done. He's also Rob Lanier, the assistant, who will probably be named head coach in waiting for the end of Rick Barnes' career, unless something completely falls apart. Rob Lanier now making one of the highest paid assistants in college basketball, $400,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. There's the monetary breakdown and the Tennessee basketball breakdown for the day.
I'll take 1% of that, please.
Yeah, right. It's kind of funny though, because as an assistant, you're making about 1/9 of what your head coach makes. So your head coach is making 9 times more than you are,
which is really crazy. But at the same time, you're getting paid 6 figures to coach. Yeah, I can't really.
Yeah, no.
You're not hurting for money.
No, but as much as they have to recruit and stuff, I mean.
Yeah, no, it's a tough job. No, listen, I'm not saying it's not worth the money.
There's a reason they make the money they make. It's because they work there's 365 days in a year. They work about 370 days in a year. Because, I mean, they just, it's unbelievable what they do.
Like, so, if you are a coach's wife, you are a miracle of a human being. I don't know how you do it.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so let's move back to football here. We're going to do what we're going to do the last segment of every week till the end of college football. We got big games. We're going to break them down. There's not that many big games week 2, so we're only going to do it for the last segment. Instead, a lot of times we'll probably do the whole hour. But Jason, hit me with that first game we're going to talk about.
Mississippi State, Kansas State.
Okay, well, Nick Fitzgerald's back from Mississippi State this week. Wonder if there's a little bit of a short leash for Nick Fitzgerald. Keaton Thompson had a heck of a game last week against the Sisters of the Poor that they played.
473 yards of total offense and 7 touchdowns by himself.
Okay, so interesting. Nick Fitzgerald going to have to come out and play well for Mississippi State.
Interesting. Mississippi State ranked 18th in the nation, favored only by 7.
They are in Manhattan, and Manhattan's a tough place to play. And I know it's not New York; it's the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. It is, but Kansas State did not look good at all last week. Now, I think they will play better. But, man, Mississippi State's got a lot of firepower on offense, and they have a pretty daggum good defense. Their defensive front, I expect a lot of pressure on the Kansas State quarterback, who I have no idea who that is.
I'm trying to find the.
But I do expect Mississippi State to roll a little bit. I think it may be close early, but I think Mississippi State will pull away. Mississippi State's going to start 2-0 in my opinion, and move into SEC play feeling pretty good about themselves. I wish Tennessee would schedule a team like Kansas State and not West Virginia. Anyway,
I would have thought that just boost some morale.
Yeah, we should have bought that game out.
You're looking at all the other SEC teams last week, and you get Georgia gets Austin P. And I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Skylar Thompson is the name you were looking for
the quarterback for Kansas State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. His name's Skylar, so he probably sucks. All right.
8 for 14 so far on the year.
So not great, but not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on. Mississippi State. Well, let me pick. Mississippi State win. What's the point spread?
Touchdown.
Mississippi State covers.
I agree. Kansas State just.
And by the way, don't go bet off of what we say, please.
Oh no, I'm accepting no responsibility if you lose money. But if you do make money, split the difference with us.
Yeah, that'd be great. So if it works out for you, pay us. If it doesn't work out for you, don't blame us.
That's not on us. But I'm going to go with Mississippi State to cover. Also,
Jason?
Nah, Mississippi State.
To cover? Okay, Here we go. Next.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just give you grief here.
Okay.
Oklahoma.
No.
UCLA.
Okay.
Now, last week, I remember you were talking, Lane. You were fanboying over Lane last week.
Still will. That's not going to change. Still love Lane Kiffin.
Did he not say Keon 40 points was going to be put up by FSU or FAU?
He did say that.
Lane Kiffin, I love you.
And they only made it to 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Kiffin said that they were going to lose.
He did.
He did.
I thought they would put up a little bit better of a fight. Maybe Oklahoma's really just that good. Kyler Murray looked.
He looked spectacular.
Like I was a little surprised. Guy should be playing baseball and making his money, but good for him. He's going to,
and he's also going to be playing baseball. By the way, it's not like he can't.
No, yeah, you're right. But Oklahoma, they're the real deal again, and I really can't believe. I can't believe it. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, UCLA went down last week to Cincinnati. Thank you. That makes me feel a little bit better. Chip Kelly's offense looked like poop. So, Oklahoma, it's in Norman, isn't it?
It isn't.
Okay.
It is.
And what's the point spread?
The 4-letter network has got 29.5.
Same for CBS.
Okay.
Yeah.
29.5. I'm actually, God, this is stupid. I'm going to say that Oklahoma won't cover. I say that Oklahoma wins, and probably by three or four touchdowns, but I don't think they cover. I think 28 is going to be the max. So I'll take in the money line. I'll take UCLA to keep it within 29.5.
This hurts my soul to say it because I hate Oklahoma with the passion of 1,000 burning suns, but they are fantastic looking, and I am going to pick Oklahoma to cover. UCLA's offense
is atrocious.
Is the 106th passing offense in the entire country.
That's so
point. I know it's
bad.
after one game, but you're 106.
Your
overall offense and your passing offense are both 106. So I'm going to take Oklahoma to cover.
Okay, so that might make me change my mind, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say UCLA keeps it within the 29.5. Jason?
29.5. I'm going to go with Oklahoma as well. Unfortunately, not a big Oklahoma guy.
So I'm going to, again, look like a moron next week. Okay. Next game, Jason.
Next game. Oh, this is just a cupcake. Alabama, Arkansas State.
Okay. Obviously, we're just breaking this down because it's Alabama. I think you're going to see both quarterbacks today a lot more. Nick Saban went off on Maria Taylor after the game. Poor Maria Taylor. I think she handled it really well. Apparently, Nick Saban did call her to apologize. Good on Nick Saban.
Good. I'll try not to be a jerk in the first place. Would be a nice...
Now, to be fair to Nick Saban, okay, and I don't do this a lot, but
it is cold in here.
To be fair to Nick Saban, he has been asked the quarterback question 90 bajillion times, and he said the same thing every single time. At some point, he's going to blow a gasket.
My thing is nobody believes you. Like you can keep answering this question. Well, we don't know. No, it's not true. Nobody believes your answers.
Now, to be fair, he did say with Maria Taylor, he said, you're trying, and I don't think Maria Taylor was trying to do this. He said, you're trying to get me to say something negative about one of them, and I'm not going to do that.
No, pick a guy.
Well,
that's it. That's all she wants. Like literally, that's the scoop of the day.
Now,
to pick a guy.
Now, and that's fair. It is. But what if he doesn't pick a guy? What if he really wants to roll with both of them? And that's possible. They bring you two different play styles.
I just think when they play an actual team, Nick Saban is going to ultimately choose a guy, and I don't believe that he hasn't chosen a guy. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I think Tua is the guy.
Yeah, Tua is the guy.
So why did you just say that? Like, is it really
because
going
you don't
to kill?
want Jalen Hurts to transfer?
He doesn't want to hurt Jalen Hurts.
I get that, but I mean, you're not going to keep him when you start to get into the actual meat and potatoes of your schedule. You're going to choose a guy, and he's going to transfer.
But you want to keep him as long as you can. Look,
all right.
You're only as good as your backups.
Which I get that.
And if Jalen Hurts transfers in the middle of the season, who's the backup quarterback? And what if Tua goes down? I mean, Tua runs around, and so I mean, Tagovailoa.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stocky kid, but like just still, I'm not saying that he should give the answer, but Maria Taylor was not trying to get a rise out of him. She wasn't trying to make him say anything that he wasn't trying to say. And you know what? You might be annoyed with reporters for asking questions, but if you keep things obscure, they're going to ask questions. That's their job.
They will. That is their job. And so I definitely see both sides of it because I've been, on a smaller level, I've been on both sides. I've covered football and I've coached football. I don't want to give you all my information, but I also understand the reporter has a job to do. So I get both sides.
Yeah,
Nick Saban, he's very calculated. He did it on purpose. Don't pretend that he didn't.
Which is why I have trouble with him. He's a jerk, and he's a jerk on purpose. That's the part that always gets me.
But he's calculated with it. I don't think he really hates Maria Taylor. He wouldn't have called her and apologized if he had a problem with Maria Taylor. I think he probably even told her. He said, "Look, this is not about you. This is about my perception of what I'm trying to do." And Maria gets that too. And so that's why Maria wasn't that upset. Maria is professional. I love Maria Taylor.
This can't be the first time
she is one of my favorites. I absolutely love Maria Taylor.
She's great.
And that's saying a lot for me since she's a Georgia grad, but I do love Maria Taylor. But what's this point spread? We'll
some ungodly point. I was just looking at it.
I've already scrolled off of it.
36 and a half.
36 and a half.
Oh, no, just moved to 37.
Oh, it just moved to 37. I still, at 37, I still have Alabama covering. I think they win by 40 plus. Keon.
I'm going to take Alabama to win outright and cover the spread.
Yeah.
37 might not even be enough.
Now you know where I'm at.
Yeah, I got you. All right, move on.
I don't have my elephant mask. I'm going back here. Next one. I'm going to save that one because this guy actually going to be the better game. And that one too. Clemson and Texas A&M.
Okay.
Fun game.
Now, Clemson's whether they're going to say it or not, they have a quarterback controversy. Don't know that it's fair to Kelly Bryant that it is a controversy, but Trevor Lawrence is really freaking good.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem. If there's anybody in the world that knows how to coach against Dabo Swinney, it is Jimbo Fisher.
Yep.
They're going to College Station. That is one of the toughest places to play in the country.
I just have to point out, how mad are you if you're Dabo Swinney when you learn that Jimbo Fisher was leaving?
You still have to play him.
Still have to play him.
It's outstanding.
Early in your schedule.
God, yeah, it's outstanding.
With a good team.
Kellen Mond, the quarterback for Texas A&M, had a really good first game against nobody. And then Trayvon Williams also ran the ball really well. The problem is Clemson just has a lot of horses, and I don't think Kevin Sumlin recruited well enough and kept the talent at Texas A&M high enough
for
them to be able to really compete to win the ball game. I think Texas A&M comes out hot. I think they play really well in front of the fans in College Station. Place, like I said, almost impossible to play, but I think eventually it wears down. They wear down. Clemson wears them down a little bit. But what's the point spread there?
12 points. Well,
Clemson by 12?
Clemson by 12.
Oh, that's good on you, Vegas, because that's tough.
That's why they put it there.
I'm going to take, just because I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns, I'm going to take Clemson to cover. Obviously win outright and cover.
Yeah, I agree.
think it'll be tight.
It'll be close. That's for sure. I mean, just Texas A&M being at home and the way that Murray was playing, it's a tough one. I'm going to take Clemson. I'm going to take Clemson to win outright. I'm going to take A&M to cover.
Okay.
I'm going A&M.
Okay. Are you taking them outright?
Both.
Oh wow. Okay. And
just
because you heard it here first.
Just because
with the huevos.
Well, just because Jimbo Fisher knows how to coach against Dabo.
Yeah, he does.
You know, 2 ACC coaches back together. Come on.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited for it. I'll be listening to it on the way home. All right, continue. Who's next?
Pittsburgh and
Penn State.
Yeah,
we're going to do it just because it's the ABC game at 8:00. What's the point spread? Because Penn State looked like absolute hot garbage in the first half, or in the first game against
7.5.
State. Oh, it's on the road. Oh God, 7.5. Come on, Vegas. Don't put me a half.
Yeah, that's why they do the half. They know you can't choose the half. Penn State looked like boo-boo last week.
Okay, but I think James Franklin's too good of a coach. Penn State's going to cover. Trace McSorley's going to have a lot better of a game. Penn State to cover, win outright and cover.
Penn State only beat Appalachia State, though. Barely.
Yeah, and I watched the whole game, but
I will
that
point
happens, though. And I don't.
App State is the school that likes to ruin your life. So
And
I don't know that
it's
necessarily.
week one. I don't know how much we can really take away from week one. I still think Penn State's a really good football team. They escaped. I'm going Penn State to cover.
I'm worried about Penn State defensively, ranked 100th against the pass in the nation. So that's no fun.
Yeah.
But also Pitt's offense is equally as atrocious. They are 105th in passing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Penn State to cover and win outright. But I don't feel very confident
Penn
about
State beat Albany, though, 30-37 last week. So, I'm going against the grain again. I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
All right.
Okay.
Outright?
Not outright, but they'll cover the spread.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Who's next?
At least you're not talking completely crazy.
I can.
Who's next?
Stanford taking on USC.
Okay, that's going to be
the Fox game.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. 8:30 p.m. on Fox.
5.5 is the point spread
In favor of Stanford?
Yes. No,
USC. Who's at home?
Stanford's at home.
And Stanford's favored by 5.5.
Yes.
Just 5 on CBS.
Okay, so we'll go with the higher one. We'll go with 5.5. One of the best players in the country plays at Stanford. USC's lost a lot. It's at Stanford. I'm going to say Stanford to cover that 5.5, win outright and cover.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
What you got, Keon?
It's tough, but I'm going to go Stanford. Stanford to win outright. I think USC can cover, but Stanford's defense is so good.
They are.
I just don't see them dropping a game at home to the Trojans.
You're right.
But I think USC can cover. They are a solid offensive team, especially on the ground. So,
okay, let's do 2 more. We got 2.5 minutes. Let's do Tennessee and Georgia. So let's do Tennessee first, save Georgia, South Carolina for last.
Okay.
So Tennessee, ETSU, point spread, Jason.
If the internet cooperates, not showing.
Hold on. Let me see if I can.
I saw 37.5 yesterday.
I think CBS showed like 30 something the other day.
So let's have it at
CBS isn't even going to give us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did see on my bookie, I saw 37.5 yesterday. So we'll go off of that. Tennessee 37.5 point favorites. You're going to see both quarterbacks for Tennessee. I have Tennessee to cover the 37.5. Tennessee will put an absolute whooping on ETSU. I say Tennessee wins by 40. Keon.
Tennessee, obviously, in a landslide should be. I mean, if that game is anything, if that game is within 3 touchdowns, I would be dead. I would be upset. Yeah.
Yeah, Tennessee's got this one.
Okay.
I mean, it's ETSU. Come on.
All right, so we got 1.5 minutes to break down the game of the week. Jason, what is it?
South Carolina and the University of Georgia.
In Athens?
It's in Athens, yeah.
And Georgia
in Athens?
And Georgia is a how big of a point?
10.
10-point favorite. Oh.
South Carolina put on a good. I mean, yes, they did not play anyone of caliber last week, but they played well. So And where else can you say go Cox at? Come on.
10's tough. 10's tough. It's in Athens or wait,
it's in South Carolina. It's in
Williams
Rice Stadium.
It's in
South Carolina. I'm sorry, not Athens. It's in South Carolina.
Oh boy, that place is crazy. I've been there a couple of times. 10 points. Georgia's favored. I'm gonna pick Georgia to win outright. South Carolina's gonna keep it within 10. I think it's gonna be a 1-possession game. I really like Jake Bentley a lot. So I put Georgia. I put Georgia to and Debo Samuel. I put Georgia to win outright. South Carolina to keep it within the 10. Keon.
I'm going to pick Georgia to cover and win outright. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but I think that they can win by 10. I do think 2 possessions is reasonable for them to win this game.
It should be close. Yeah, I'm going 14 at the most.
Okay.
Robertson's a heck of a running back, for a replacement for Georgia. So.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on today. Obviously, stay tuned for Scott Schrader's We've Got You Covered radio here on Nuga Radio 97 FM. This has been The Breakfast Blitz with Nick Leffew, Keon Rose, Jason Kirk. Please enjoy your Saturday of college football. And also enjoy your first Sunday of NFL football. Have a great day.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's